things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too unsettled. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the move. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis. First things first.
Good morning, good morning. This is a good early morning for me. It's still dark outside. I be up, but I don't be out at dark. But good morning. My name is not Dominique DiPrima. My name is Melina Abdullah, and I feel very blessed and fortunate to be sitting in the Queen of Radio's chair, welcoming you this morning, asking everybody to rise with me, rise with us, with a spirit of gratitude. We are so grateful to be awake and alive this morning. I have the honor again of sitting in for Dominique DiPrima. We open this morning and every morning with gratitude. We're grateful for life, grateful for breath, grateful for health, grateful for a sound mind, soundish mind, a body that works. Grateful for our community, grateful for our homes, for lights that turn on, water that runs. We're grateful for this land's indigenous people. We're grateful for our African ancestors whose labor and lives built what is now the Americas. We're grateful for purpose, grateful for vision, grateful for the victories that are sure to come. We're grateful for our God, grateful for our ancestors, grateful for our people, grateful for future generations. As I come to the microphone, I pray that the words come easily, that they flow through me, that the spirit is right, that this platform is one that's used to advance justice. I'm grateful for my brother Billion Godson who's sitting across from me, Brother Miles, grateful for him. And I also come in the name of our most righteous warrior ancestors and pray that I be used as a vessel to usher goodness into the world. Today, we call on the spirit of the one and only Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, whose birthday is today. We call on Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer's spirit, who stepped into organizing at 46 years old. So when you think that organizing is for young people, remember that Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer left her mark on the world, has changed all of our lives, and she began the work at 46 years old, and she did not live a very long life. She lived into her 60s. But she made this mark on the world. When you all say, I don't vote, it don't do nothing. Look, even if you only do it as an exercise, do it as that exercise in the name of Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. When you say, there's no sense in me standing up and getting up, remember how many times Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer got up after she was beaten by the police, got up after she was abused by the landowners on whose land she sharecropped, got up after she experienced the theft of her ability to physically reproduce, but became a spiritual mother to so many in movement and in this world, got up when, the Democrats always talk about how they were the open party, right? But the Mississippi Democratic Party wouldn't seat Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer or any of the black delegates, and she got up and she made a seat for herself and for them with the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. If you haven't read the book Black Power by Kwame Ture and Charles Hamilton, it probably does one of the best jobs of detailing what happened in Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer's fight. So we call on the spirit of Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and since we said his name, we're going to call his name again, Kwame Ture. We call on his spirit as well, especially as we talking on a mic. Can't nobody talk like Kwame Ture can talk. Just Google one of those speeches. I also call on the spirit of Jaheim McMillan, who was just 15 years old, as we talk about states like Mississippi and the work that Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer did. Remember, there's work that still needs to be done. 1 year ago today, 15-year-old Jaheim McMillan stopped at a Dollar General store to get snacks on the way home from school. And he and his friends encountered the still white supremacist, racist police that plague the state of Mississippi and Gulfport in particular. And as they ran from this police officer who was chasing them, Jaheim McMillan, at just 15 years old, was shot in the head and killed. And so we lift his name and send our hearts and love to Sister Katrina Mateen, his mother. We send our hearts and love to all of those in Mississippi, to the other boys who were with him. We send our hearts and love to organizers like Marquel Bridges, who are organizing right now for him. Marquel Bridges, we send you our love. We send our hearts and love to Black Lives Matter Grassroots, that's organizing his memorial for him today. Also, Jacob Blake is there. We know so many are there to lift the spirit of Jaheim McMillan. And let's just say his name, Jaheim McMillan.
Jaheim McMillan.
Say his name.
Jaheim McMillan.
Say his name.
Jaheim McMillan.
And finally, we call on the spirits of our own bloodline and spirit line ancestors as we get into this conversation about Black politics. I call on my intellectual, who our first guest and I call Big Daddy, Dr. Michael B. Preston, who was my mentor, but more than that, was really an intellectual father to me. And I pray that his wisdom and his wit and his humor and his love for people embody what we do here today. So again, welcome to First Things First. Again, my name is Melina Abdullah. I'm professor of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA's College of Ethnic Studies. I'm co-founder of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and Black Lives Matter Grassroots, where I also get to serve as director. And I am Tandiwe Amara and Amen's mama. And Billion Godson is on the other side of this table. He got up with me this morning and agreed to co-host Billion Godson. You are from the Africa Town Coalition.
Yes.
And a lot that's going down in this city. We have you to thank for. We have you to thank for pushing back against gentrification. You to thank for pushing back against land mismanagement, right? As we talk about the ways in which white corporations come in and gobble up land and don't serve community, especially in the heart of Crenshaw. As we talk about the ways in which banks, corporate-owned banks, white corporate-owned banks, mistreat their customers, misuse community, and don't serve us. Billion Godson, you know, you my friend and my brother, but I also want to thank you as a community organizer that some people just take for granted, right? What if there were no Africa Town Coalition? What if there were no Billion Godson? So I'm grateful for you, grateful for all that you pour in. Are there any names you want to call on as you approach the mic?
I want to say I'm grateful for you, Dr. Melina Abdullah. You know, you have driven and brought the movement in this city together before Black Lives Matter LA rose up. We were scattered. We were scarcely responding to people who were being killed, but you have made it consistent. You have pushed the local movement to an international movement. So thank you.
Thank you, Billion. I appreciate that. And we've been getting down since before there was a Black Lives Matter. We can think of people like Dida and Kamati who pulled us together. We can think about also our brother who's here. I can feel him, Marcus McAphone Higgins. Yesterday or Wednesday at the protest, we called on the name General Jeff. We lift up General Jeff. All of these beautiful comrades who've been such a part of our journey together, but also a part of the struggle for liberation, for Black liberation in Los Angeles and globally. And so we summon them into this space. And We also summon our community into this space because this is a
Yes.
community conversation.
Wake up.
So wake up, give us a call at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Here's what we got on the map for us. First hour, we going to be talking about, I called on Michael B. Preston. Michael B. Preston had at least 2 intellectual children, more than that. But his 2 favorites were Dr. Boris Ricks and me. Dr. Boris Ricks, my intellectual brother, professor of political science at Cal State Northridge, will be joining to talk about black politics in Los Angeles. We're going to talk about LaFonza Butler as our U.S. Senator. We're going to talk about a whole lot that's going down in L.A. in this first hour with Boris Ricks. And then I got to be on my toes. You got to wake up for sure. Because in studio will be none other than Amara Keone Abdullah, along with Brother Shiraz of the Black Lives Matter Youth Vanguard. Yes. These young ones gonna bring it in the 7 o'clock hour right before they head off to school. And then in the 8 o'clock hour, we have attorney Brian Dunn, who's going to be talking with us about anti-blackness in Los Angeles. All of that is coming forward right here on First Things First.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Venture X from Capital One is the travel card for people always asking,
where next?
You earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, could potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
So my name is not Dominique DiPrima. We wish Sister Dominique traveling mercy as she continues to travel with her child. She'll be back, and we're grateful for her. My name is Melina Abdullah. I feel very blessed and honored to be on Dominique's mic, sitting in Dominique's chair. And I feel blessed and honored to have my brother from another father, or from the same father. I guess it's another mother, because we got the same academic father, same intellectual father. Dr. Boris Ricks. Dr. Boris Ricks and I were in graduate school together, and we call our big daddy Dr. Michael B. Preston, the father of Black politics. And if he were up this morning, Dr. Boris Ricks, you know he liked to get up early. I like to get up early. We would get on the phone and engage in a lot of political gossip. We haven't carried on that legacy since his passing several years ago, but we should sometimes do that because I needed somebody to bat around some of these happenings with. Boris Ricks is professor of political science at Cal State Northridge, and he is my friend and brother. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning, Dr. Boris Ricks. What's up, Bo?
Hello there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, well, first of all, let me just say this. It's both a pleasure and an honor, and I am ecstatic to be able to have a conversation with my friend, with my colleague, with my sister, with my former neighbor, with my partner in crime, and someone whom I hold near and dear to my heart. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And before I begin, as you've already done, I just want to follow up and just say, Big Daddy, we hope to do you proud, and I know you're listening, and we will be guided by your voice. And with that, it is your show, and you talk to me, and I will talk back.
Ashe, it's good to hear your voice. We haven't talked in a while. Grateful to have this as an opportunity to share at least some airwaves together. As I was thinking about what we get to talk about, if Dr. Preston were alive, this week we'd have been on the phone every morning at about 5 o'clock. Because we'd have been talking about first the appointment of LaFonza Butler as our U.S. Senator. Like, I am a late, I know a lot of folks who are in elected office. You know, I've known a lot of the folks who are in elective office before they ran for office. So people like, my state senator, Lola Smallwood Cuevas, is my friend, right? My friend, like, each other's houses friend, right? Like, can cry in front of her friend. Isaac Bryan, my assemblyman, is my little brother from another mother, right? He came up and was organized into space. He found Black Lives Matter Los Angeles as one of his spaces that he was organized into. So I'm friends with them, right? I'm friends with Sydney Kamlager, who was a part of Law Pi. I don't know if you remember her she was a student in Law Pi. Did you know that?
Well, before Law Pi, she was... she took my urban politics class. Of course, I was Big Daddy's TA, and she became a very good friend. She and I stuck together, and so we go way back.
Yeah,
we go so far. We go so far back. She knows dirty little secrets that I'm holding her. Holding her feet to the fire that she won't tell.
I did not know that. Well, I also know LaFonza Butler. LaFonza Butler was once an organizer with SEIU 2015, was once a president of SEIU 2015, which is now having labor issues. And we're going to talk about this hot labor fall now that we're entering. But LaFonza and I go back to when she was, with SEIU 2015. The unions were our first supporters for Black Lives Matter. We didn't have no money, but knew we wanted to go to Ferguson, needed some people to help rent us some vans. And LaFonza was one of the people who stepped up, never said no to movement, and we remained friends. And sometimes, remember how we used to sit at the back of rooms sometimes and whisper with Dr. Preston, right? Like, we talk about, he'd point out who's who, and he always had a story about every person in the room. Dr. Preston would have a story about every person in the room. LaFonza would have loved Dr. Preston because we used to stand in the back of rooms and point to people and have little talks about who you can trust and who you can't trust. And then I just saw her like 2 weeks ago. I went to the Congressional Black Caucus And she's now, or was, the president of Emily's List. So they had this phenomenal reception for Black women called Black Women Lead. And I was there, and I was kind of, she's my friend. So I had my little arm around her, and we were talking about the kids and talking about what it's like for her living on the East Coast now, or being on the East Coast now. And didn't expect that when I got back to California, she would be my U.S. Senator. Like, I texted her when it came out and thinking, now she's a U.S. Senator. She's never going to text me back. And then yesterday I got my text back saying, hey, sorry for the delay. Yeah, it's great. Something like same LaFonza, but now she's Senator Butler. What do you think about that? Because it's, I'm excited, but it's also very, very complicated.
It is complicated. But before we get to the complications, let's talk about the celebration. I think that this is the best news that we could have heard as Californians, and particularly, Southern Californians. It not only feels a promise that Governor Gavin Newsom probably thought he was never going to have to make, but more importantly, it checks some boxes that makes this appointment historic on multiple levels. She is, as you have mentioned, a prestigious organizer. She is meticulous. She has a proven track record, and to have done some of the things that she has done is just utterly amazing at her age.
Yeah, because LaFonz is like 44 or something. She's
44. You're absolutely right. 44. Yeah. And so to occupy the junior senator seat in the largest state, in the largest state in the U.S. is unfathomable. Now, she has some interesting roots, or shall I say roots, that I think are really, really important that we should know. She is an HBCU graduate. We need to make sure we acknowledge that. She is a graduate of Jackson State University, and she is from Magnolia, Mississippi. She is from Magnolia, Mississippi. So she could not escape civil rights if she wanted to. As you mentioned in the introduction, she walked on some of the same soil and marched on some of the same soil that Fannie Lou Hamer marched on and walked on, as you mentioned earlier. So we have someone who I believe is more than a caretaker. We'll probably get into that a little bit later, but she is a neophyte. She is new to politics, electoral politics as an elected official, but not new to politics as an organizer, as a strategist, and as someone who knows where the rubber meets the road. I think we're in for some exciting things to transpire in California for the next, 15 months she probably has to serve. I'm sorry, I said 15 months. I meant to say 5 months. The next 5 months she has to serve before we get into a primary election. So this is. I am more than happy, and all eyes are on us, and they're on us for a reason because California moves and shakes, and sometimes we lead and the nation follows.
That's right. And I do want to lift up that she is our first openly lesbian U.S. Senator. And I think that means something. I think that when we talk about civil rights and freedom and the advancement of Black women, and she's a mom, right? All of these things, we know your identity doesn't solely determine how you land because she's also one of I always say one of 3 black senators, but she's one of 4 senators who happen to be black, because we got to throw Tim Scott in the mix, right?
We have to accept Brother Tim by default, but we accept him anyway.
Right, but I think your identity does mean something, and if you're true to your identity, and this is something Dr. Preston taught us, right, that we have both descriptive representation and authentic representation. I think all of these experiences, her being from Mississippi, her being an HBCU grad, her having children, her being a black woman, her having been a union organizer, is going to help to define what she can do in the U.S. Senate over the next several months. And when we come forward, we'll talk about what those possibilities are. Also, what this means for black politics. We know a lot of us were pushing for Barbara Lee, and I want to sit with you and talk with you, Dr. Ricks, about what this means for that permanent position. So if folks want to hop in our conversation, the phone number is 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, as we talk about black politics with Dr. Boris Ricks. This is First Things First. My name is Melina Abdullah.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Good Friday morning to you. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The U.S. is resuming direct deportation flights of Venezuelan migrants. Thursday, a Biden administration official announced any Venezuelans who illegally cross the border and do not establish a legal basis to remain in the U.S. will be flown back to their home country. New details are beginning to surface about last week's arrest of former Las Vegas Raiders defensive end Chandler Jones. September 28th, Jones, who is black, received a temporary protection order from the mother of his sons. Cops say on that same day he took items from the woman's backyard like a pool net and dog toys. He then allegedly sent the woman Snapchat messages showing him nude in his own backyard, burning those items. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows fall is the perfect time for outdoor projects. Right now, you can keep your yard looking its best and save. Take care of leaves with leaf blowers starting at just $89.98. Lowe's knows home improvement. While supplies last, see store for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The start time has been set for Game 1 of the Dodgers playoff series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. First pitch Saturday in the best-of-5 series is 6:20 p.m. at Dodger Stadium. LeBron James will not play in the Lakers' first preseason game Saturday at Golden State. LeBron said he wants to play in at least 3 of the Lakers' 6 preseason games. At 38, LeBron will be the oldest active player in the NBA when the regular season tips off on October 24th. Clippers guard Josh Primo is doing some very important multitasking during training camp. Primo participates in mandatory therapy sessions when the team is not practicing. Primo was accused multiple times of indecent exposure in 2022 when he was with the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio District Attorney's Office is still investigating the allegations. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Lamert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
At City National, we listen to you.
I want to expand my business and my legacy.
I want to set up the next generation for success.
I want to see my vision come to life.
I want to feel right at home.
Your goals, passions, vision, future. We want to hear it and work alongside you to achieve it. Visit cnb.com to learn more. City National Bank. Here for our clients and communities.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
You are now in Big Tobacco's fantasy land. Welcome. It's a healthier world where they want you to believe that vaping makes quitting cigarettes a breeze. Never mind the evidence that vaping leads to using both. And if you're younger, even better, teens who vape are 3 times likelier to use cigarettes. In Big Tobacco's fantasy land, the deadliest industry is your friend. Big Tobacco's idea of smoke-free is a dangerous fantasy for us all. See reality at undo.org.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, everything okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Honey. Hey, I'm here for you. Tell me about school today.
When kids can't find the right words, music can help them sound it out. Talk to the kids in your life about their emotional well-being. Find tools and resources at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And my name is Melina Abdullah. I'm sitting in the Queen of Radio's chair, Dominique DiPrima. We wish you traveling mercy as you travel with your child. I feel very fortunate to be on these airwaves with Dr. Boris Ricks. I got my brother, Billion Godson, sitting right across. Very grateful for him this morning and grateful for all of you who want to hop in this conversation. Our phone number is 800-920-1580. We got D calling in from Long Beach. D, what you got for us?
Good morning, professors.
Good morning.
I have 2 questions with 3 answers each. Number 1, what is reasonable in policing? I would say you don't get to shoot people in the back, even if they are fleeing. You look at the data and you act appropriately. And finally, you do not protect property over lives.
I think we can all agree with that. And Brother D, thank you for raising that. As I mentioned when we started, this is the 1-year angelversary of our brother Jaheim McMillan, little 15-year-old child who was running from police in Gulfport, Mississippi after having bought snacks. That's what we all do on our way home from school, right? Stopped at Dollar General and bought some snacks. Mississippi is coming up a lot in this conversation this morning. But this is Jaheim McMillan's 1-year angelversary. So as you raise that, Brother D, you don't get to shoot people who are running away. And so thank you for raising that. I think we all agree with that. What else?
Secondly, why do I claim black-on-black crime exists? We as a people have a distinguishing physical feature. We share a unique experience of chattel slavery. And based on per 100,000 person basis, we kill each other far too often when you compare us with other groups.
Dr. Boris Ricks, you want to hit on that one before I come in?
Absolutely. I think it's important to understand crime statistics, crime data, and logistics. I am not as certain as you are that people commit crimes because they're race influenced or race induced. I believe people commit crimes because of the location. People commit crimes because of location. And here's what I mean by that. If you live in a black neighborhood, you're probably going to commit crimes against black folk. If you live in a brown neighborhood, you're probably going to commit crimes against brown folk, and et cetera. So I think that there are crimes being committed in neighborhoods, particularly neighborhoods, communities of color, and the perpetuators of such crimes are also folks from those neighborhoods. And that makes it more a crime of opportunity than a crime of race and or ethnicity.
And that's brilliantly said. And actually the data, Brother D, is that black people actually don't commit more intra-community violence than other people. It's pretty standard across race. So, we don't talk about Asian on Asian crime, but the data is about the same as black on black crime. And nobody ever talks about white on white crime, but the data is pretty much standard across. So I think it's important. We also need to, I would just add to what the brilliant Dr. Boris Ricks said. I'll just add, when you talk about black communities, you also talk about communities that are starved of resources. So communities that are starved of resources tend to have especially more property crime in those communities, right? So it's important that we lift it up. It's not that we don't address intra-community violence. We do address it, but we remember that intra-community crime and violence can best be answered by pouring more resources into our neighborhoods. And your last thing, quickly.
No, that was it.
That was it. Well, thank you for calling in, Brother D. We appreciate those questions. Let's go to Carl calling in on line 3.
Hello, Melina. Good morning. Hey, Fannie Lou Haman, she took on all that punishment from grown men. That's the kidneys that she said. She explained why she was having so many aches and pains. She was a frontliner, just like the other sister out there. I can't think her name, Harriet Tubman. She was a frontliner, and just like you. Thank you for being a frontliner. Hey,
Thank you.
I'm hoping that Barbara Lee is going to get over not getting that position. Hey, what's Butler supposed to do when she comes to work? What is she going to start working on or doing for the people when she starts her first day on the job? And my last question is, what did you think about the movie The Black Klansman? I never heard you say anything about that. Maybe you have spoke on it, but can you give me a little something how you felt about that movie, The Black Klansman?
Woo, Lord, you having me reach back in these crates. I got to remember what happened in The Black Klansman. I do remember the film. I thought the acting was great. But I got to think about that storyline a little bit. You had me processing some things. Let's pose those questions that you raised, Brother Carl, to Dr. Boris Ricks. What do you think the appointment of LaFonza Butler means for Barbara Lee? We know Barbara Lee is our member of Congress from the Bay Area who has been putting it down for decades. She is a phenomenal leader, and many of us were hoping that Barbara Lee would get the appointment and then retain the seat as our U.S. Senator. What do you think that LaFonza Butler's appointment means for the possibilities of Barbara Lee?
I think LaFonza Butler's appointment is significant, and it will allow Representative Barbara Lee to reflect. Now, this does not mean that Representative Barbara Lee, this does not mean her chances become any slimmer. This just means that this could potentially set up a scenario where we would have a historic environment in California state politics with two African-American women running for the U.S. Senate from the state of California. Now, more importantly, and as we dig deeper into this, I think this has, I think what the governor did, Governor Gavin Newsom made a statement that he probably wished he would not have made. And there's a rule in politics: never make a decision until you have to. And when you make a decision before you have to, it's premature. And when you wait too long to make a decision, is procrastinating. So he's somewhere in between there. But what he essentially did, he was looking out for himself and his future. And he upheld the commitment he made, and by upholding this commitment he made...
So for people not paying attention, Dr. Ricks, what was that commitment? He pledged to what?
He pledged to appoint a black woman to the Senate from the state of California. In the absence of our dearly departed, Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Very dearly departed,
Well,
I don't speak ill of the dead often, but she doesn't really cape for black people very often.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as Californians, let's just say that.
Yeah.
So,
some people are. I saw the cover of the LA Times today where they're, singing all these praises. I remember having to picket her. I'm from the Bay, so I remember having to picket her a lot. But anyway, the seat opened up because she finally died when she was 90 years old in office, and then Gavin Newsom had to appoint a replacement.
Mm-hmm. And again, some people will say that, Gavin Newsom was looking out for the African American community. I will say to you that may or may not be the case. I will say that Gavin Newsom was looking out for his political future by upholding a commitment he made in politics. And, in politics, we do not forget what you say when you're on the campaign trail, because we want you to actualize that when you actually get in office.
That's right. I love that. Say that saying one more time. A politician never makes a decision. Say it again. When they have until they have to.
A politician should never make a decision until they have to.
A politician should never make a decision until they have to. More with Boris Ricks. I don't want to just talk about LaFonza Butler. There's so much moving. We have more with Boris Ricks when we come forward right here on First Things First.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
I walk for my mom, who survived a heart attack.
I walk to inspire my kids.
I walk to save lives. So can you. Join the American Heart Association's Greater Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, October 22nd. Register at heartwalkla.org.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
My name is Melina Abdullah, and this is First Things First. I am sitting in the Queen of Radio's chair. So we send love to Dominique DiPrima, who will be back next week. We got Fixico calling in on line 2. What's up, Fixico?
Oh, it's a great honor, Dr. Abdullah. My grandfather, Pompey Fixico, was a World War vet in 1926 when he was shot down, lynched in front of Wewoka. And because his land was over in an ocean of oil, and the family had to flee an extermination order. My question is, when will society deal with the Jim Crow status of black Indians in Indian territory today?
Wow, that's a big question that I am not prepared for. Are you, Dr. Ricks?
It is a huge question, and one of the things that I am hopeful for in attempting to address this issue is how our CSUs have started to increase funding of the Native American and American Indian Studies programs. These programs do a significant job of educating those who are unaware of the history of our First People and our First People's history, our First People's politics, and our First People's opportunity to self-actualize is certainly taught and learned in those courses, and they're open to everyone. And I think that's where we begin. We begin with education. We need to raise the level of awareness as to our First Peoples, what they've done, the contributions they made. They need to be acknowledged, and it also needs to be recorded both historically, in print, in broadcast, and other ways, so we can use them as teaching and learning materials for subsequent and future generations. And we move forward with this idea and notion, each one teach one, so that we can advance the other. I think that is what we need to do, certainly as it relates to Native American, First Peoples, and the study and preservation therein and of.
Thank you so much for that response. Go ahead, Fixico. We got just a couple of minutes, so go ahead real quick.
Okay, it sounds very great, but Brother Doctor, it's over your head on that. I'm talking about what we need is the black Indians that are with the indigenous Indians. As people call them freedmen, I call them free people of color. What we need is a commissioner of Black Indian Affairs in Washington to issue them separate but equal membership and citizenship cards. So I thank you very much. It's an honor to talk to you both, and that's my input this morning.
Thank you so much for calling in. Yeah, the legacy. So this is why I wasn't prepared to talk about it, because the legacy of Black Indians is so rich and complicated, and there's a lot that needs to be said. I think Dr. Ricks is absolutely right. We need to invest in Indigenous people studies, Native studies, American Indian studies. We need to do that. And we can't just be doing the intellectual work without doing some reparative work, right? So what are our First Peoples entitled to? So sometimes I roll my eyes when they do land acknowledgments and then, want to say they got to pay tuition. Why should Indigenous people have to pay tuition? This is their land, right? So we got to think about what does repair look like? But then I think this question, and this is why it's complicated, that Brother Fixico raises, is there's also this long history of Black and Indigenous solidarity and the role of Black Indians. What does that mean? And so I would love to explore that more. I'm not an expert. When we come forward, I want to, again, finally get to this question for Dr. Ricks. What's on tap as Senator Butler occupies the seat for the next 5 months? What's on tap? What comes after that? We'll also have time for more calls at 800-920-1580. That's coming forward.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Leimert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
At City National, we listen to you.
I want to expand my business and my legacy.
I want to set up the next generation for success.
I want to see my vision come to life.
I want to feel right at home.
Your goals, passions, vision, future. We want to hear it and work alongside you to achieve it. Visit cmb.com to learn more. City National Bank. Here for our clients and communities.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And this is First Things First. My name is Melina Abdullah. I feel very blessed to have my brother from another mother, Dr. Boris Ricks of Cal State Northridge, with us this morning. We're trying to unpack Black politics in Los Angeles, but we haven't gotten past LaFonza Butler yet, our new U.S. Senator representing us from California. So, Dr. Ricks, what's on tap? What can she do in 5 months? We started to also talk about what this means for Barbara Lee's chances.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be really challenging to make some significant headway in the 5-month window that she has. If we just look at it like this, since the appointment, there's been what we call excitement, consternation, and disappointment. The big three: consternation, excitement, and disappointment. Excitement because we have the first openly gay Black woman who has been appointed the junior senator from the state of California. The disappointment is that we have a long-serving Black woman in Barbara Lee, who is a member of Congress, whom we hoped would have an opportunity to, if not receive the appointment, certainly receive support in her efforts to run to replace recently departed Senator Dianne Feinstein. And so the consternation is the Black community has to make a choice, and this choice is the 44-year-old LaFonza Butler or the 77-year-old Barbara Lee. and it appears that with this appointment, LaFonza Butler has a leg up. Both of them are distinctively qualified, and both of them check a lot of boxes. And I'm not sure we go wrong if we go in either direction. However, this is a interesting scenario, and so what happens now is, Governor Gavin Newsom has done what he said he was going to do, and now we are going to have to resolve this in the African American community, in which part of our community will be hurt, harmed, and dissatisfied either way.
Well, I'm going to ask if you could do us a favor of sticking around just a couple more minutes, because we got to get to the bottom of this. I'm also thinking about, if both Barbara Lee and LaFonza Butler run for the seat, what does that mean for Katie Porter and Adam Schiff, who've also had their eyes on the seat, right? Do we get to retain that seat as a black seat? Or are we going to wind up giving it away to one of them? When we come forward, I want to get Boris Rick's answer to that question. Can we keep it a black woman's seat? The only black woman in the U.S. Senate, either Barbara Lee or LaFonza Butler. That's coming forward right here on First Things First.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good Friday morning to you. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The U.S. is resuming direct deportation flight bases to remain in the U.S.